everybody. Javier here once again for another exciting episode of Javier in the Air. So, this week, again, we are without some interviewees. So, it's just going to be me. It'll probably be a little short and sweet. If you noticed in the beginning, I played some more drone footage. I'm getting a little bit better on it. So, I hope you got to watch it and see how I'm getting better, getting higher, which is good. And now that I realize that Javier in the Air makes more sense now that I have drone footage. So uh, please bear with me and go with me as I go through this learning experience with the drone footage, and then hopefully I'll be able to take it out to a craft fair soon, which I mentioned before. The dates have still not been nailed down yet. Crazy Stacy is still in the act of trying to nail down a date, and once we have that date, I will certainly be having her on again to talk about it and where it's going to be, when it's going to be, and what you can expect of it. So let's get right in, talk a little bit more about drones. So I've had some people give me some requests, and I have to be honest, I have refused them so far. Drone is kind of a hairy line between what you can do and what you can't do, and then personally what I can do and what I will not do. So as you notice, the drone footage, a lot of it is just in my front yard. I'll probably eventually do some backyard so you can kind of see the garden beds and all that sort of thing. I'm thinking about doing a nighttime flight in the backyard as well. But I've been only trying to show just myself as far as people are concerned, and just right around what you can see from basically the front of my house. So you're seeing a lot of my neighbor's car in front. You're seeing the road, and you're seeing some of the yards that are adjacent to me or across from me. So I will try my best to not put anybody on the footage that does not want to be on there. I will not go into people's backyards. I will not follow someone around. I will try to stay in what is considered general public area, to make sure that there is no cause for alarm from anybody, which is not what I want to do anyway. If it's a public area, I will be out there trying to learn my drone. I might go to a little kind of a floodplain area that's near me. I guess it's a floodplain. I don't know. It's being used now. It's got like a backstop, couple of backstops, and soccer kids will go out there and have their practice, and people will use it. People were, I think you saw it on the Snowpocalypse episode that I had, where my sister Norma was out there doing the guy ski. So again, that was a general public area, so the footage was okay. So I just want to make that clear. So if you want me to go to your house and show your house on my footage using the drone, and I have permission from you, I will certainly do that. I would just probably focus on your house and make sure that if I did get anybody else's house, it would just be in the front, so there is no invasion of privacy. And so, well, and again, make that clear. I would love to get it out there for the craft fair. Again, it would be a public area, probably at a park, maybe somewhere else, but again, it would be general public, and I wouldn't do it for very long, just something to get out there. So, having said all that, if you'd like to have me, drone by your house, or your event that you're at, or something like that, I am currently just doing this for free. I'm still learning my skills, so this will be just free of charge. It'd probably be only a couple of minutes or so, and I would certainly put it on my podcast and give you the rights of the video itself, so that if you wanted to use it for anything. Once again, I don't know all the laws that have to do with drones. I may have to actually register my drone. I have to go back and look and see what the dimension weight are. And then you get a basically what is like a I don't know. I guess it's like a drone license. I don't know what they actually officially call it. But I will look into that because my drone is older and may actually be too large of a size for them to for it to not be considered something that has to be tracked. So won't be a big deal. So I'll do that, and we'll see what's going on with that. Okay, so I have a couple of things, projects that I'm working on, so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I certainly would also love to see some of the projects that you, my friends and family, are working on. Anybody in the Cedar Park area, anybody not in the Cedar Park area, let's see what you're doing, especially for this summer. So, as you saw last week, I am working on, or was having the fence put in thanks to Texas Vinyl Siding. They did a great job. They came back out a day later and made some tweaks that I needed for them to do. So it turned out to be real nice. And maybe I'll show that next week or something. I am continuing to work on my garden. Of course, I don't have anything ready to harvest yet. The vegetable garden is taking off like gangbusters. It's beginning to see some sprouts coming up, some shoots coming up and stuff like that. For the Brussels sprouts, for the onions, and for the beets, I'm getting some good growth there, so that's good. I am currently watering them every 3 days. And for the fruit garden bed, that's taking a little bit longer I hoped for. I'm growing the strawberries still in organic pots. Inside the house, I take them out almost every day, or actually, I take them out every day to let them have some natural sun, and then I bring them in at night to make sure that nobody's eating the seeds, and all I'm doing is just watering soil. However, the bed itself is a little bit of a unexciting, I should say. The bananas have not seen any growth there yet. The carrots I just put down last week, so I don't expect to see anything from them either for at least another week or so before I start seeing the shoots. And then I have that section. I have a four square section for the strawberries. So we'll see if I get anything. I am protecting them both with a bird netting PVC cage that's weighted, so I don't think the squirrels are going to team together and be able to lift that off so that they can get to anything. And so we'll see what I get. I'll probably show, like I said, some of that next week. So those are two projects that I'm working on. The fence, like I said, are up, but I'm still trying to put some stuff down. In fact, let me show you some scenes, shots of the fence that is, as you look at my house, the left side of the house, and you'll see a little bit of what is being done there. So let's take a look at that real quick, and then I'll come back. Okay, so this is a vinyl fence that was put in by Texas Vinyl Siding, or fencing, I should say, Texas Vinyl Fencing. And as you see there, it's got a 4-foot gate. It's got a very pretty cool security lock on the door, both inside and outside of that gate, or on the other side of that gate, I should say. Now, like any other gate, it's not super strong, but it's as strong as like any fence around the neighborhood. I might find a way to try to support it more, make it a little bit stronger. Also, as you notice on the right-hand side, I went to Lowe's and got some nice white rock to put in on the side there. It had kind of like river stone type of thing, and I pulled that up, put down some bedding, weed barrier, and then I put down the rocks. So it turned out real nice. Now on the left-hand side of that gate, I'm not sure what I want to do yet. I like the rock that's there, and I might use it to also support the fence. Just not sure yet. So, this is, if anybody else out there has vinyl fencing and has any ideas for me of how to strengthen the fence itself, I don't want it super strong so that it's I can't ever get through it, but just something to support a little bit more because it looks really cool. It could also be that the cement is not 100% cured, so that they pour it into the post. And so with that curing may come a little bit more solidity. So we'll see, but let me know and send me pics of your fencing, vinyl fencing, or any other fencing really that you're proud of, so I can take a look and see what you got. Okay, and I'm back, and I just realized that it's pretty dark. So hang on one second. Let me get my studio lighting working here. Hold on. That's a little bit better. And that's even better. So now you see me moving around. So now, yeah, this is a lot better now for those of you who sometimes say I'm in the dark trying to hide myself. And those of you that really know me know that I never try to hide myself. So that's just who I am. So, okay, so that was the fence project. So now we talked about drones. We talked about gardening, which, by the way, send me your gardening pics. I love that the Pavlovskis, Farmer James and Farmer Zyda, are sending me their harvesting. Let's see, what we get from them next. They always have great ideas, and I will always have them on the show because not only do I get great response from everybody, but they just have perfect videos of their cooking and their gardening and all that stuff. But send me your ideas, send me your gardening stories, or send me your gardening videos of what you're growing this year. I'd also like to see maybe we can do a farmers exchange. I'm certainly growing some things that most people probably will not grow, which is why I'm growing them, so that when if I am able to get a farmers exchange going, it won't be all of us showing up going, well, I grew tomatoes. What'd you grow? I grew tomatoes. What'd you grow? I grew tomatoes. It turns out everybody grows the same tomatoes. You're not really going to have an exchange. And I'm not a fan of raw tomato anyway, because I was allergic to them for many, many years. So it's not something I really want to exchange for. But there are other things. I'm hoping my Brussels sprouts turn out great. I have fantastic recipes for baked Brussels sprouts. There was a great restaurant called 11 Plates that used to have some of the best um, baked Brussels sprouts that I've come across in a long time. And people would really, it's all they would order and pick up and take it away. Unfortunately, that restaurant is no longer around anymore. But I think I do a pretty decent job. I think my brother Robert does a pretty decent job on baked Brussels sprouts. So if I can get them out of the ground, we'll see what kind of baking I can do with them. Also, I'm doing, like I said, the golden beets and that sort. So, okay, gardening project has been talked about. We'll check that off the list here. Fence project, that was the left side of the fence of my fence project that I was talking to you about. Again, thanks Texas Vinyl Fencing. I keep saying siding, but it's fencing. And then I will bring probably something on the right side about the fence. Having a little difficulty there. The fencing looks great. It is a 5 foot wide fence. So I just used it today to bring the mower from the front to the back, and I didn't have to go through on the other side. I wanted to try it out anyway. So I did that, and it turned out great. And but what I'm fearing of, when it gets wet and I'm opening and closing that gate, the wheel that is there that helps to keep the fence moving, which is great, by the way, it's a big wheel, so it doesn't bog down or anything. The problem becomes is that if I start putting tracks in the mud there, and the mud and the dirt starts settling like that, I might have some issues later on where then it no longer touches the wheel. So I went to Lowe's, yes, my favorite home away from home at this point, and I'm sure for a lot of you, Lowe's or Home Depot, because it's been that kind of year and a bit already. Um, I got some pavers, so some interesting pinkish looking pavers, and what I want to do is run it along the bottom of the fence to begin with, but then I'd like to have it so that it goes out like maybe in a half moon sort of thing, so that the wheel will just run on the pavers rather than running on mud and causing any issues in the future. The problem with that is that my cable modem internet line, however you want to say it, that cable comes in on that side of the house. And so it actually runs almost exactly where I need to have the pavers. So I don't want to have that cable underneath the pavers, because if there's ever an issue with the cable, and they have to dig up that line, they will then just dig it up and throw my pavers to the side and do whatever work they want to do. So what I want to try to do is reroute it by going over there maybe next weekend and digging up that area to expose the line, move it so that it does more of a square rather than the moon function, so that it goes back out, and make sure and do that without any form of tension and without any form of disruption for my service. While they were putting up the fence, every time the guy was over there, it would cause enough of a static discharge that it would drop the internet. But the cable was also exposed. So what I did before I got the pavers, because I'm an idiot, I was like, well, I'll just bury the cable. So I buried the cable, and then I came up with the idea of the pavers. So now I'm in a quandary as to what to do. If you have any ideas, if you've had to worry about putting down rock or pavers or anything like that, um, over cables or anything like that, shoot me a message and let me know what you wound up doing. I hope I'm not getting in any trouble by just moving it a couple of inches. I definitely don't, like I said, I don't want the pavers to be over the cable, because that's just going to have issues of its own. And I guarantee you, if I put it on, if those pavers on that cable, it is going to be, there is all of a sudden going to be an issue, and they're going to have to dig it up, and they're going to be like, hey, we just tore up all the stuff to get to the cable. Why do you have pavers over the cable? So that being said, so that's that side of the fence project. So I have some other projects that I'm doing as well. For example, I'm going to put up some solar lights, and yes, I was just told that I was kind of obsessed with solar lights just yesterday. And so the answer, to that is yes, I am obsessed using the solar lights. I think they are cleaner. I think the ones that I'm getting now are brighter and are lasting longer. And you don't have to worry about dropping a line, electrical line somewhere, so that you have to worry about digging up your yard, or digging up the side, or tearing down some of your drywall in order for them to run a line back to the breaker box. And I have an electrical outlet outside, but I also don't want to have to worry about a cable running through my yard in order for me to put up lights, as we all know that lawnmowers just love cables, and just like I just love to chew on them, and you don't think about it, and you're out mowing one day and you hear "Argh!" And you drop your cable, you drop your internet, you drop everything. And so I'm really trying to avoid that. So, all right, so what I'm going to do is figure out so with the solar lights, I have some lamps that I will show you. I'm going to screw into the vinyl, and I'm going to put one on each side, see how they go, see how they make sure that the lumens or the brightness is where I want. And if those go well, then I'm going to have one on each side of the gate, which is interesting, because now that I think about the fence opening, I may not want one on each side, because the other one's just going to get crushed or block the door when I try to open the door fully for guests to come in. So I maybe only have one, maybe two. Stay tuned. I'll definitely do something with that. Okay, so enough of the fence project. What other projects are you doing, Javier? I'm glad you asked. That's what I always like to hear, is people asking me what's going on. So one of the projects I've also been thinking about is not only interviewing, but maybe bringing in a guest host that would sit here with me once they would have to be fully vaccinated, which, by the way, my second dose is coming up April 20th. Yes, that's 420 for those of you who know what that means. So I will be getting my second shot, thanks to Walgreens over here on 620 and 2222. Thanks to them for being available, and they were just there when I was really getting kind of anxious about getting it done, and they scheduled my first and second dose. So anyway, so tangential, going back to the host, if you would like to be a part-time host with me, maybe come on every couple of episodes and we just kind of have some feedback. Whether you are near me or not, we can certainly get it done. And so it wouldn't just be an interview, it would be you and I, whoever you are, talking about any subjects that we want to bring up for that episode. We might do a little bit of planning, 5-10 minute phone call, just talk about what we want to do, and then we will get it done. I try to keep these nowadays between 30 minutes to 45 minutes. It's been a lot less because I haven't had as many interviewees, which I'm still wanting as well. But if you'd like to guest host Javier in the Air, then shoot me a message, and I will schedule something with you, and then we will get it done. And then we'll see If I get multiple people, which is what I'm really hoping for, then I could have one like on almost every week, and I think it'd be a good rotation. I've been told that I do well, good feedback back and forth, not only with the people I interview, but with people in general. So I think we would have a good rapport going, and certainly, we can get differing of opinions maybe on certain subjects. It's not going to be The View. It's not going to be 4 or 5 people. I'm not going to have a studio audience, but I just want to see what we can do out there. Okay, so any more other projects I got going on? The answer is yes. So if you saw the cask, what I need to do is I need to make. I'm trying to make that into a outdoor fire. Not really a pit, but you know what I'm saying, like a fire on top of it, using a bowl or some sort of pit-like thing. I keep going back to pit, but it's not a fire pit. There are kits that you can get with it, or you can get for it, and other things. But first, what I have to do is either screw in more screws around the hoop because I have to make doors. And whatever project I wind up doing, whether it winds up being the fire or it winds up being something else for that cask, I'm going to have to put doors on it for one reason or another. Now, the problem with that hoop, for those of you that are coopers out there, you know that as soon as I cut that ring, even though there are some brads there, they're very far apart. So if I have to cut between it, they're just going to pop out. And so I don't want that to happen. So what I've seen other people do is actually put screws in to the metal itself, into the wood, to secure it more forcefully, I guess is the way to say it, so that it doesn't pop out when you then cut it to make doors on there. So I'll be doing that as well. So that's kind of a long-term project. I was hoping to get it done sooner, but I'm trying to see if I can get a friend of mine who is a blacksmith to actually show up and maybe put some decent-looking brads in there, or if I have to find some unusual but cool-looking screws that I would put in there as well. So again, to keep it that rustic look to it that you get from wine casks. By the way, for those of you that asked, it was a Malbec that was in that cask. So the inside is probably a nice, beautiful burgundy color. I can kind of see it around the bunghole, no pun intended. But once I open it up, I'm sure I'll have a video of that so you can see what that is like. So, okay, so one other project that wasn't mine, but I took part in yesterday, was with James and Julia Takashita. You've seen them here before. Last season they were on, and James made some great musubi, that was basically fried spam, which turned out to be really good, by the way. Go back and watch the episode of us making it and then eating it. And they were having a project where they were putting in about 3 cubic yards of this rose gravel, is what they called it. And it was rock pieces about that big, and it came in four or 3.5 huge bags that were probably 5 foot wide and about 4.5 feet high, full of rocks. Now each of those bags probably contained, I want to say, a ton or 2,000 pounds of rock, and we put it out into some beds. I'm going to see if I can throw a shot up here. In fact, let me throw up a shot up here of what it looks like, plus what they want to do. So take a look. Okay, so here's part of the group that worked on the rock project at the Takashitas. You see James over there having a quick respite and chowing down a little on the great spread that Julia put out for us. And then there's myself and Kristen. You've seen Kristen on the show before last year about movies. And there is a bag there to the left in the photo of the size. That's just one of the 4 bags that was out there yesterday morning. And so we laid all that out there. What you see now is the front garden that James and Julia prepped by tearing it all up, removing all the stuff in there, laying down the weed barrier. And then what you see in the center photo is something called a metal agave plant that Julia found on a website and ordered some. My only concern is that I ordered some of these too, and this is supposed to be the medium, and it is pretty tiny if this is what a medium is. So I'm hoping that the large ones that I ordered actually will come in and be bigger than I'm thinking it might. So we'll see how it is. But I think this project went very well. Only took us about 3 hours or so to do it, to lay out about 7,000 pounds of rock, and it went over real well. Thanks a lot. Okay, so there you have it. There was the rock project. That wasn't my project, so I'm glad I can show some other people's project on there. If you have a project that you want me to go and visit while you do it, or you just want to send me a video of it because you're proud of it, then certainly by all means just direct message me on Facebook or leave a comment on my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel whenever you want. Please do a search for Javier in the Air, or if you're already watching this video, you should be able to know how to get there. And you can subscribe to it so that you get a notification every week when it is ready. And I drop these every Sunday afternoon, early evening, unless there's some emergency or something comes up like last week. That being said, we are now, I think I've pretty much talked your ear off about all the projects that I was doing and that other people were doing that I partook in. And so now we're going to go to beer. So let me get a beer review Hob on the air now. And we'll get him to review whatever he's bringing us. I don't even know what he's bringing it yet. So let's see. Take it away, beer review Hob. Thanks, podcast Hob. So this is beer review Hob, and I know I have different names over these episodes, over these 2 seasons that I've been going strong here. I'm going to stay on my shader kick, and because I still have a lot of shader that I've been going through, even though I also have a lot of friends I work out with, and they've been drinking my shader. But I have another one. This one is also from Bishop Cider Co. And so this is their mango habanero. See, there we go. It gives it a better look. That gives too much light there. So mango habanero looks pretty good. It's only 6%. Yes, it's only 6% ABV. It says sweet mangoes with a flash of heat. I have to admit that I have had this already, because I had the taster pack that I told you about last time. So we're gonna go ahead and just get right into this because this is a good one. So mango habanero, tasting glass. Thank you, New Belgium Brewing Company. And one of these days I'll have to tell you about all the glassware that I have and how I picked them up. So here we go. Oh, this is nice. So it's got a orangish, well, I mean, honestly, it's got a mango look to it. Let's just call it what it is. And so there's the can. Here's the look to it. You see it? It looks more yellow on the other one, kind of like the pineapple one did. But in real life, it's a lot oranger than you're seeing here. Let's take a taste of the shader. So up front, you really get the mango, and one of the things I like about shaders is that they are very refreshing. I would call it a breakfast beer. In people that may not like mimosas, I don't know who you are, but whoever may not like mimosas, and you still like alcohol, that's important. This could be something that you could drink in lieu of. Everybody's having a mimosa, and you have yourself a shader, specifically this mango habanero one. So I noticed before on this, you don't get as much of a flash of heat like they say. You get a little bit of a spice to it. Definitely coming, of course, from the habanero. But I also noticed that in a lot of beers and ciders that you have to worry about overpowering with your spice of whatever spice you're using. For the chili habanero, the tomatillo, whatever hot you want a spice that you want to use of a pepper. You know what I mean? Like some of them really vary on the Scoville rating. Look up Scoville. And what you'll find is that there's one or two ways. And of course, it's almost like a black and white. It's one or two ways. Either they don't go strong enough, and so you get a little bit of the heat, and then it just kind of vanishes, and so it's barely on the tongue before it's gone. Or you have the other way, which you normally find, which is that it's overpowering and it kills your taste bud to anything else that's in the beer and or cider. So, for example, this mango habanero, I really like it, but the heat is just not there long enough. And so I've tried it right as I poured it. I've tried waiting a while to see if maybe the oxidation of just being in the glass will help out as well. You really get that mango, which is fantastic. I love mango. You get maybe a little bit of smell of the chili, and you get, like I said, just a little smattering of the chili. I would like to see maybe a little bit more chili flavor to it, a little bit more habanero to pack that punch. But I'm sure the guys out there, I'm sorry, the people out there at Bishop Cider Company, you have that thin line, and we can talk about this one of these days when I have a co-host, a guest hosting, of where you draw the line. And I think we've talked about it before in some of the panels that I've done. You want to do your best. You want to do something new. You want to do something exciting. And right now, chili is a hot thing. I mean, the chilies and any type of chili, no pun intended, by the way, of adding it to beers and adding it to ciders and stuff like that. You don't, sometimes it's hit or miss because you want to add enough so that people are like, bam, I can taste that. For example, the habanero, bam, I can taste that habanero. But you don't want it to be too overpowering so that all you taste is the habanero, and then it doesn't really taste that good when it's just a chili. So I think Bishop Cider Company is doing it right. I think it just needs to be maybe a little bit more tweaking. And I personally don't know what they do. If anybody from Bishop Cider Company wants to come on and tell me their process, I'm more than happy to interview you, and we can have more cider and talk about what's what. So there could be that fine line. Like they found, like, okay, this much works, this much works, this much works, this much. Oh my God, it's too much. So plus you want to also have the broader audience. You don't want to have just the habanero lovers that are, like, really want you to hit them in the face with it. Nor do you want the ones that just are like, well, I just want, I really want the mango, and I get this because it tastes only of mango, and so even though you're getting the consumer purchasing you, it may not be exactly where you want to go. So I would love to talk to any of the cider companies out there, specifically Bishop, if you have a chance and you're watching my podcast, or if somebody watching it knows them. Have them contact me. I'd love to have them on the podcast, and we can talk about cider till the cider comes home. So that's where we are with this. I am going to give this one, because of the mango, because I really like it. I'm gonna go pretty high, but because it's just not enough habanero, just a little bit more, and I think it'd be fantastic. I think I'm gonna drop it down a little bit, so I'm gonna give this one 8.5 thumbs up out of 10. So those of you that have a dissenting opinion and think I'm full of it, which there's a lot of you out there, certainly drop me a message or drop me a comment on the podcast. And if you agree with what I'm saying, then certainly drop that as well. And if anybody's out there from Bishop that's listening and they want to set me straight for the record, certainly just let me know, and I will be more than happy to have you on the show and we can talk about it. So that's all I got for the podcast. I was going to turn it over to Podcast Hub, but I'm going to finish it up. So everyone out here, Javier In The Air wants to, I want to thank, and I want to thank for everybody who has been listening in on my podcast. I appreciate you, I really do. Anybody else wants to get on the show, guest hosting or not, just let me know, and we can talk about what you're passionate about. The only two things we avoid on my show are religion and politics. So we'll talk about about anything else that you want to talk about. If you have any crafts that you want to talk about, be my guest. We can talk about the craft fair coming up. I hope to have Crazy Stacy on here to talk about the upcoming fair once she gets the site locked in. Anybody else, whether they're in the Cedar Park area or not, love to hear from mom and pop businesses, especially if you're not here. I'm trying to, reach more people as I can, so I can love to talk to people across the country who have their own little mom and pop shop, and we can talk business of business. And so, also, if you are in the Cedar Park area and you'd like to, and you own a mom and pop business, restaurant, brewery, whatever, and you'd like me to be out there and we can interview while having some brew or having some food, just let me know. Contact me, and I will then reach out back to you. So, not through a third party. If you own something or own a business or are passionate about something and want to talk to me, please direct message me. I don't go through third party. I've just found it to be more of a hassle, and then in the end, more than likely the person or people don't want to be on the show, which I appreciate. Not everybody wants to be on my show, unfortunately. So please contact me if you want to. I'm still looking for people to talk about gaming. I think I might do a gaming podcast next week if I can line up the right people. We may do Moon again, so you can see how the Moon has progressed with the Pavlovskis and myself. If there's a game that you want me to highlight, certainly drop me a message. If there's a game that you play with your family and friends and you want to talk about it, we can do that as well. If there's a game that you have modified so that it's almost your own game, let's talk about that. I might be having a poker first annual vaccinated poker shootout that I'm still trying to put together. So if you have gotten vaccinated, you've gotten your second dose already, and you're interested in playing a little poker, this is a friendly game. The house takes nothing. This is just a straight up friendly game of poker, very low stakes, very low key. So don't expect to be making billions of dollars off this thing because it's not going to happen. Shoot me a line if you're interested, and I'll get you on the list. So that's it for this week. Thank you, everybody, for being patient, and thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope you have a good week. April is turning out to be a really nice month outside. Get out there while you can. The mosquitoes are still in hibernation, and they haven't realized that it's nice out there, so they haven't come to attack me or anybody else that I know, really. And so let's get out there. I think we're doing well as far as vaccination go, at least for my family and friends, and everybody I know is getting vaccinated. Great job doing so that we can maybe be out and about. And I might even actually be doing a brunch here in a couple weeks, and so I will certainly bring that on the podcast as well. So thanks again. Everybody have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you again next Sunday.